Hey guys, it's Dawn and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So for today's video, I wanted to show you guys the books that my husband got me for Christmas. Almost all of these are ones that I had been thinking about for quite a while. I had seen talked about on BookTube and wanted to get, but there were a couple that were kind of randomly added at the end because I found out about them pretty close to Christmas. But like I said, for the most part, these are ones that I have wanted and I'm really excited about. First up is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. So this is one of the few on this list that I actually don't know a ton about the plot, but the reason that it appealed to me so much is that it's a standalone fantasy, which I just don't think is that common in the adult fantasy section. You know, you've got a lot of trilogies, a lot of really long series, and so when I heard people talking about this one and I found out that it was standalone, that kind of drew me in. I don't always want to be starting these massive series, you know, because it just gets very overwhelming, and then I feel like I'm pressured to keep picking up the next one and the next one and the next one until it's finished. So this takes some of that pressure off because it is just a standalone. Although it is quite large, which after starting the Stormlight Archive this year, I'm not that intimidated by, but if you don't like long books, this one is quite a chunky one. Next we have The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. This is the first book in the First Law trilogy. So obviously Joe Abercrombie gets talked about a lot on BookTube, but the reason I chose to start with this one in particular is that I feel like it's the most frequently referenced, so I thought it would be a good starting point for his work. Also, as a side note, I've heard multiple people say that they don't like these cover designs for the First Law trilogy, but I actually prefer them over the kind of like brownish ones that I've seen around. I think these are much cooler. So I don't know if I'm in the minority there, but I really like these covers. Next we have Jade City by Fonda Lee. It is the first book in the Green Bone saga. So I asked for this one specifically on Daniel Green's recommendation. He describes it as urban fantasy, and I do know a little bit about the world building and kind of the premise of it. And it just sounds fascinating, and I am so excited to read this. Next, we have The Last Smile in Sunder City by Luke Arnold. So this book is kind of that stereotypical detective noir urban fantasy. I read like a short excerpt of this one and liked the main character's voice. If I'm remembering correctly, it's written in first person, which is also very common in a lot of detective noir kind of urban fantasy. One of the things that drew me in and made me want to get this book is that the character is described as a grumpy veteran, which is a trope I use frequently in my books. I think just because I served in the military, so I knew a lot of grumpy veterans, so it's just one of my favorite character tropes. Next, we have An Easy Death by Charlaine Harris. Is that how you say Charlaine? Charlaine? I feel really awkward now. So this is another urban fantasy, but the premise is quite quirky, and it's actually one I hadn't heard of until I was browsing Barnes & Noble like a couple weeks before Christmas. But the blurb just totally grabbed me, and I really wanted to read it. So my basic understanding is, you know, you've got your main character, she's a gunslinger. It's kind of an alternate history version of, I think it's like 1930s in the US. But basically the main character is a gunslinger that gets approached by two Russian wizards who are looking, I think they're looking for someone that they think can help their czar that is like sick. But just the Russian wizards, like I saw the two words, Russian wizards, and I was like, I think this was written for me. So I just had to get it. I couldn't resist. Next we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. This one, of course, has been making rounds on BookTube for quite a while. It is very popular, so I wanted to pick it up. The last book from my fantasy selection is one I already loaned out to my cousin, so I don't remember the title offhand, so I'm going to insert a clip of me after I've looked it up so I can tell you what it is. So here's that clip. The title is Don't Call the Wolf by Alexandra Ross, and it is a young adult fantasy, which I know I don't usually pick up, but it's Eastern European inspired, and I'm just a sucker for that, so that's why I got that. But it is currently loaned out to my cousin, so hopefully I will get that back from her soon. I can speak English, and then I will be able to read it. So of course the majority of my books were fantasy, but I did get one sci-fi, and that is Leiathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I don't read a ton of sci-fi. I want to get more into it this year, and this is just one that I've heard talked a lot about on BookTube. I think I first heard about it on Daniel Green's channel. Apparently I watch him a lot, but I wanted to give it a try because it sounds really good. The last two books are not fantasy or sci-fi at all, but they are two books by Frederick Bachman. So Beartown is one that I picked up from my library at the end of last year based on Murphy Napier's recommendation, and I loved this. Like, gave it 5 stars, adored it. I think I cried a couple times. I took pictures of a couple pages because I really liked certain quotes. It's good. Like, it's good. And then I found out it's going to be a trilogy. So there's already a sequel, which is Us Against You. And then I think there's going to be a third and final book. So I asked for these. So even though I've already read this one, I just really, really wanted a copy. And then obviously I wanted to read the sequel, which my library did not have. But oh my gosh, I love his writing. I think I'm going to like binge everything that my library has of his this year and then possibly get more of his books for my birthday. We shall see. But Beartown, this is so good. The last book I got is a religious piece, which if you're not Christian or if you're not specifically a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, this will not interest you at all, but I'm throwing it in here because I did get it for Christmas from my husband. But this is Eve and Adam, Discovering the Beautiful Balance by, long name, Melinda Wheelwright Brown. So Adam and Eve are a very, very popular theological topic in our church. So when I saw this come out, it really interested me and I wanted to pick it up and give it a read. So yeah, those are all the books I got for Christmas from my husband this year. It was really lame because we're old now and we just know what we want, so we just tell each other flat out. So I just took pictures of books at Barnes & Noble as I decided which ones I wanted this year and then sent them all to him, and he went to Barnes & Noble and picked them up. And actually it was kind of funny because I dropped him off at Barnes & Noble and knew, he was getting my Christmas books. And then he texted me like half an hour later when I was at Target with our daughter, and he's like, I'm having trouble finding these. You just want to come find them for me? So yeah, I went and picked out my Christmas books myself. But you know what? When you get married and you're comfortable in your marriage, it just doesn't matter anymore. And you're not afraid to just tell each other exactly what you want. I don't know if that's just us or if other people can relate, but yeah, that's what happened this year. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Let me know if you have read any of the books I mentioned in today's video. Let me know what you think without spoilers. Pretty please. And I will see you guys next time. I hope you have an amazing week, and as always, happy reading. Bye.